I just got back from listening to a survivor of the Nova Festival, Assaraf, speaking, and it's hard to say anything after that, just hearing the horrifying story. But the light that came out of the darkness for him on his journey and his redemptive state that he's in now is just inspirational. He got there around 6 in the morning. The rockets, I think, started shooting down at like 6:30. Him and his wife are headed to the festival. She puts her coat in his friend's car, like somewhere else, and they head toward the festival. All of a sudden, rockets start firing and he feels something. Rockets in Israel are a normal thing. So people jump into the bomb shelter. Unfortunately, it's just a wave and a part of life. But he felt something, that there's something different, and he had a feeling he needs to run, and he told his wife, we have to go, let's leave the festival, we have to go, let's head to the car. And it's then that he takes this video that's seen millions of times. On the video he had this feeling, and with his wife on video he said, this might be the last video that we ever take together. And she said, God forbid, never talk like that, everything's gonna be fine. This is prior to the 3,000 terrorists that came in and did all of the horrific things that I can't even talk about. This is just a feeling that he had before all of that other stuff happened, which is only 10 minutes later after those rockets. So they start running toward the car. She says, I left my jacket in our friend's car, let me run and go get it. They go back. Later, he realized that he was basically a messenger of God, because when he went back, he saw there was someone who wasn't waking up from the sirens and the alerts to leave the festival. And so he was knocking on the door. The guy still didn't wake up, and his wife came and woke this guy up. Then they run to the car. They're heading out of there. And as they're leaving, everyone's saying, don't take a left. The rockets are going there. Take a right. So he starts heading towards the right. And then all of a sudden, he sees cars turning around and going back to the festival for safety. He felt something that was telling him, don't do that, just keep going. So he kept driving. There's a million other parts of this story in terms of passing the army base and also having a feeling to not go there, which later he found out that the terrorists were dressed as Israeli soldiers. He just kept going and kept going. 13 of his friends, his closest friends, were killed brutally. One of his closest friends is still held hostage, and so many other countless things that you know. One of the things that he was pointing out was that you have to always look at the good. And one of the things, especially people ask, where was God in all this? And he was saying that it's a big awakening and it's horrible what happened, but there are 3,000 terrorists that came in. And each of them, obviously their plan was to kill at least 10 people each. And had they been successful, that's 30,000 Jews. We aren't that many people in the world. So the fact that only 1,400 were murdered is horrible, but it could have been way worse. And he realized that it was a big awakening, and we all need to come back into alignment, back to our source, back as creations to our creator. And he is basically fully come back, as we call it, teshuvah, which is teshuv hey, the hey part, bringing it into alignment. So he's keeping Shabbat, he's fully connected, he's doing tefillah, and he's basically switched from what he was doing prior to helping people as much as he can and inspiring people toward the light and toward love and toward coming back into alignment with our creator. And it's an incredible story, and he's basically traveling, telling the story. Everybody left uplifted. It was such a horrifying story. You don't know how it's gonna end or how you're gonna leave. And of course, people are crying, and I'm not saying everything that happened, of course. Hopefully there'll be a link to this video. You can see him, he's touring around. But it's really an inspiring story. And he said that he's like, who am I? I'm a tattooed barber who only wanted to party all the time. And when he got married, he thought he would stop, but he's still partying. And he realized that it was this inner voice that he was ignoring. And that inner voice was the call to connect back to Hashem, back to God, and to be in alignment with that, and to live in his purpose and in the mitzvot and in the commandments and all that. So now he has this new sense of purpose. He's literally traveling the world, putting together a book now and inspiring people to go back to their purpose, to go back toward the light, and to be back in alignment. Shalom, how do we bring peace? It's by bringing these opposite, the things that are pulling us toward these other ways that are not in alignment with the true emet, the truth. So when we bring those together and we find this middle path, like Yaakov, like Tiferet, like harmony, that's when we can be back in alignment. And that's when we feel on fire for Hashem, like we're in that space, connected, fully aligned, and in that space of love and light. And so that part of the story was very inspiring, and I'm so happy that I got to be there. I gave him my book, I gave him a big hug, and we exchanged numbers. I'm gonna hopefully be able to help him with his book and his mission. So check him out, Assaraf, and continue to listen to the stories, continue to pray that the hostages are returned immediately, and the final redemption should happen now.